Let me be honest with you. Americans have slapped a 100% tariff on this car to keep it out of their market. But here's the interesting part. This beast is already driving on Australian roads. 1,140 horsepower. 1,000 kilometers of range and just a 9-minute charge. Technology like this doesn't even exist in Tesla's home country yet, but now it's available in right-hand drive for Australia. So what exactly is this car, and why is it being kept out of the US market? In this video, we're going to take a closer look at its technology, its insane performance, and why it's causing so much controversy. Now let me tell you something honestly. For years, there's been an unwritten rule in the automotive world. Everyone just accepted it. Italy meant emotion, Britain meant luxury, Germany meant balance, speed plus engineering plus daily usability equals German cars. But now, something interesting is happening. While German brands were busy making small, incremental improvements, in the East, especially from companies like BYD, a completely different level was being built. And now, this is no longer a theory, this is reality. And before we go any further, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. This channel grows with your support, and your likes are my biggest motivation. Let's take a closer look at the design of this car. Most EVs today look the same. Rounded, simple, almost like a bar of soap. But the Z9 GT takes a completely different approach. This is a shooting brake design, which means it combines sportiness with practicality. 5.2 meters in length, and almost 2 meters wide. These dimensions are actually perfect for a country like Australia, where long distances are part of daily driving. Long trips, not a problem. But from the rear, it's on another level. The lighting, the proportions, the stance. This car doesn't look like a cheap alternative. If anything, it looks even more expensive. So what do you think? Could this design become a trend in the Australian market? Now let's talk about the technology, because this is where things get really interesting. In most standard EVs, you get one motor at the front and one at the rear. But in the Z9 GT, 3 motors, one at the front and 2 completely independent motors at the rear. So what does that actually mean? It means the car can control each rear wheel separately. In corners, it doesn't just follow the turn, it actively rotates itself into it. A 5-meter-long car, but it feels like driving a hatchback. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour equals around 3.4 seconds, 952 horsepower. And if you go for the plug-in hybrid version, over 1,000 kilometers, 620 miles of range. For Australia, this is a real game changer, because distances here are huge. Now let's step inside and take a look at the interior. At first glance, the Denza Z9 GT feels genuinely premium. The cabin is finished with Nappa leather, soft touch materials, and real metal accents. Up front, large displays give both the driver and passenger a smooth, intuitive experience. Everything feels modern, clean, and easy to use. Sound insulation is also on a very high level, which makes a big difference on long drives. In the rear, comfort is taken even further. You get extra space, added convenience features, and even a built-in refrigerator, making long journeys much more enjoyable. Now let's talk about intelligence and maneuverability. And this is where things get viral. This car can actually move sideways, yes, crab walk. Tight streets, no problem. But it gets even more interesting. The car can rotate around its own axis. Almost a full 180-degree turn on the spot. In cities like London or Sydney, this isn't just cool. It's genuinely useful. This is no longer show-off tech. This is everyday convenience. So what do you think? Is this feature actually useful, or just for show? Now let's talk a bit about the battery, because this is another key part of the story. The Denza Z9 GT uses advanced battery technology focused on both performance and efficiency. Developed by BYD, this system is designed to deliver long range along with fast charging capability. Under the right conditions, the car can reach up to around 1,000 kilometers of range. That's a huge advantage, especially for a country like Australia where long-distance driving is common. When it comes to charging, it gets even better. Fast charging allows the battery to go from around 10% to 80% in just 15 to 20 minutes. And that short 9-minute charge you hear about? That's designed to quickly add extra range when you need it most, making everyday use much more convenient. Overall, it's a setup built not just for performance, but for real-world practicality. Now we've reached the most critical part. This car is coming to Australia in 2026, which means the Australian market is about to be right at the front of the premium EV race. But what about the United States? Tariffs, politics, restrictions. Over there, people can only watch this car through videos, and that creates a very interesting gap in the market. So what do you think? Is the US delaying these cars or trying to protect its own market? Now we've reached one of the most interesting parts: the price. The Denza Z9 GT is expected to be priced globally between $70,000 and $90,000 USD. For the Australian market, that roughly translates to around 110,000 to 140,000 Australian dollars. And here's where things get really interesting. Despite this price range, the level of technology, performance, and luxury it offers puts it directly against much more expensive European models. In other words, you're getting near flagship performance and features for a significantly lower price. That's what makes this car stand out. From a price to performance perspective, it's incredibly competitive. So the real question is, would you pay more for a badge or choose something like this that offers more for the money? Now we've reached the most important part: safety. The Denza Z9 GT stands out as a premium model equipped with modern safety technologies. It comes with a 360-degree camera system, adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, and collision warning systems. Sensors and cameras placed all around the vehicle collect real-time data, helping the driver detect risks in advance. There's also an automatic emergency braking system that can intervene in sudden situations, reducing the risk of an accident. But one of the most interesting aspects is how the triple motor system contributes to safety. Because each wheel can be controlled independently, the car reacts much faster to changing road conditions and maintains stability more effectively. Even in extreme situations, like a tire blowout at high speed, the system can adjust torque hundreds of times per second to keep the car stable and moving straight. On top of that, a strong body structure and multiple airbags enhance passive safety, providing maximum protection for passengers. Honestly, when cars like the Denza Z9 GT appear, you can't help but feel that a serious shift has already begun in the automotive world. For years, we got used to certain brands and accepted them as the peak. But now, it's clear that this balance is slowly changing. There are new players in the market, and they're not here just to participate, they're here to lead. In my opinion, the biggest difference with models like this is boldness. Traditional manufacturers usually avoid risk. They stick to proven formulas. But here, you see a completely different mindset, new ideas, a fresh perspective, and most importantly, a real intention to give more to the user. And that's what makes the difference. Because at that point, the car stops being just a means of transportation and becomes something much bigger. On the other hand, this shift isn't just about one model, it's about the direction of the entire market changing. In the past, the choice was simpler. People focused mostly on brand and reputation. But now, buyers care more about value, technology, and overall experience, and that naturally makes competition much tougher. In the end, the real winner is the user. One interesting point is that this change is happening faster in certain markets. For example, in places like Australia, people are more open to innovation and quicker to adopt new types of vehicles. That's why cars like this can gain traction there much faster. In the United States, however, the situation is a bit different. These kinds of changes may take longer to fully take hold. My conclusion is this: cars like the Denza Z9 GT show that the future is no longer far away. This isn't just a new model, it's a new way of thinking. If this direction continues, we're going to see even bigger transformations in the automotive industry in the coming years. And what's most interesting is that the center of these changes is no longer where we used to expect. There's one more thing I want to add to this. In my opinion, the biggest change here is the shift in how people think. Buyers are no longer satisfied with just a brand name. They're starting to question what they're actually getting. And that pushes manufacturers to be more transparent and more innovative. If a car truly delivers value, it doesn't matter where it comes from anymore. It will get attention. On the other side, cars like this create real pressure in the market. Competitors have to work harder to keep up. And as a result, the entire industry moves forward. In my view, this kind of competition benefits the customer the most because it means more choices, higher quality, and faster technological progress. So in the end, I'd say this: this is no longer just a trend. This is the beginning of a long-term shift, and those who adapt to this change early will be one step ahead in the future. And finally, thank you to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you found it useful, engaging, and that it gave you a new perspective. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot and is my biggest motivation. We'll meet again in the next videos with even more interesting topics. Take care of yourselves.